Hello guys, welcome to the Oblivions YouTube channel. I'm your host of the day, Green Monk, and I welcome back to another video on our channel. Today's topic of discussion is going to be Python programming, and basically I have planned on a series of on Python where we will be covering from the basics to the advanced so that you can get started with scripting in Python and automate almost each and every process which you want to. Now, the first in this video we are going to talk about the data structures and various data types. So before getting started, the first thing which you need is obviously Python on your system. So which I'm going to do is sudo aptitude get install if you are on Linux, on practically Kali Linux or any other Debian operating system, or depending on your package manager you install whatever you want to. So I'm I have both Python 2 and Python 3 installed on my system. Now for this video I'll be just using Python. Also you can download the Python from their official website and just simply install them. It's quite an easy task. Now another thing which I want to mention is, suppose I have a demo file over here to show you something called the shebang or the interpreter. So this line, first line which you use at the beginning of the script called the shebang, is used to refer to the interpreter which we are going to use for running the script. So hash and then an exclamation mark followed by the path to the interpreter. I'm using environment Python. If you want you can use regular Python as well. Both works excellent. So I use Python 2 and you can see I have marked this as executable. If I list, you can see this file has executable permissions, so you need to give it executable permission before running it. Now running it, and you can see hello hackers, have a wonderful day. So we get this executed and you can almost run any task whichever you want to run. Just make sure that you use the interpreter correctly, or if you don't specify the interpreter then you need to manually say which interpreter you want to run while running scripts. Now one thing I want to say is you might have seen that I have used two print statements inside the demo file. So if you see, actually this print statement, it will give an error in Python 3 because Python 3 doesn't expect the print statement to be like this, but it expects the print statement to be inside of a parenthesis. It treats the print as a function. So keep that in mind, and now we are good to go. I'll not be writing any scripts for this video, but just I'll be using the Python interpreter. So first thing I want to mention is, in other programming languages like C or C++, what you see is if I specify int for any integer type of data, you need to specify integer n equals 10, suppose. Now in Python this gives an error because in Python each and every data whichever you want to store, it is stored as an object of various data types, and the variable actually is a reference to that object. Now what do we mean by the reference to that object? It means that the variable stores the address of that object. So suppose I have n equals to 10. Now what is the data type? You can check the data type with the type variable. So it's an integer type of object, and particularly what is the memory represent, what is the representation of n? So if I do that, you can see method wrapper representation of integer object at this address. Also you can print the hex of this id of n, which will also give you the same result. So as you can see, it does gives the same result. So it is actually the memory location of the object 10. Now the next thing which we are going to discuss is, we have discussed the integer type variable object, so the data type, and the how to get the memory address of any object if you want to or wish to get it. Now next type of data which we commonly encounter is for floating type of data. Suppose pi equals to 3.14732 whatever. I don't know the exact value, or I don't remember it exactly. Now why I have used the interpreter is because sometimes whenever I use the variable also it does give us the value, but make sure inside the script don't use the variables without the print statement, otherwise you won't get any output for that. Also a third type of data is, suppose in the flag we can use the true or false values inside the flag variable. Sorry, my mistake. So now if I check the data type of the flag variable, it's actually a Boolean kind of data. Interesting, right? Yeah, so we have talked about the integer kind of object, the floating kind of object, and the Boolean kind of object. Yeah, let me show you the data type of pi as well to make things clear. So you can see an object of type this float, and you can also get the representation REPR. You can see float object. Similarly, for if I do it for flag, bool object. So I hope you get the idea that in Python each and everything is going to be an object, and the variables are actually a reference to that object. Now the next thing which we want to talk about is the strings. Now one more thing I want to mention is you can use hashtag to comment out the statement. Now when we will be jumping into scripting, things will be more clear. I'm just giving you a rough idea of the various data types. Next thing which we are going to do is use suppose a name, and this is going to be a string type of data. Suppose I use the name is oblivion. So now name, if I print the name, it's oblivion. If I use the type of name, it's actually going to be a string type of object. You can also check the representation. So you can take a string object at this memory address. Now there are a few things which you want to must be known to you about the string type of data. The first thing is strings are immutable. Now what do you mean by immutable? Immutable, by immutable I mean that if I write name 0, it will give me the first character at the index. But if I want to change the first character, like as you do in arrays in C or C++ or in Java, now if I want to change it to suppose V, now that's not possible. That's going to give me an error because we have a reference to that object and we don't have access to each and every character of that object, so we can't just manually change it. So we need to create a new object with whatever replacements we want to make, and in that case name equals to, suppose we want to specify something else, let it be greenmonk. So now the name variable has the data greenmonk is added, but the oblivion data has been actually the reference to the, my mistake, the reference to the oblivion variable oblivion object has been removed, and the reference to a new object created in the memory greenmonk, it has been added inside the name variable. So this is all about the name variable. Now one more thing inside the strings which we can commonly do is slice the string. Now what do you mean by slicing? In slicing what we commonly do is, now I'm using a hashtag to comment this out, and I want to just say what is the syntax for this. The start, specify the start, the end, this is going to be the index -1 where you want, which will be your last character most probably. So and this third parameter is going to be step. Step is optional, you don't need to specify the step. So let's do this now. If I want to slice it from the first index till the last, you can see RENMONK. Now 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, let me slice it from the fifth position, monk. Right, now let's suppose I give it a 6. It's just giving me one character. Why? Because it is going to take whatever end you specify over here, it's going to take -1. So from 5 till 5 what we have, just one character at this index. If I print out a name, you can see 0 1. Yes, remember indexes start from the 0th position. So 0 1 2 3 4 5. The fifth position we have the M. Now guys, if I'm going too fast, do let me know. The next thing which I want to talk about is splitting. So you can use name dot t to split the variable. and suppose I want to split it using null. Sorry, it is probably giving me an error. Okay, I had to specify the delimiter over here. So suppose I want to separate it using the character 3. So now you can see that using 3 it has been separated, and without without any parameters it's just going to take the entire string as a whole. And if I want to suppose split it using 3 3, I have specified 3 3 inside. Now it's going to split the string into two halves depending on this 3. Suppose I have a string str. Inside the string I have this, the quick brown fox jumps over the way. Okay, so now if I want to split it using the white spaces, I can simply do that, and you can see that the entire sentence has been split over using the spaces. Also, if I want to split it using any particular character, so you can see the quick brown fox jump ove. Again, this has been broken down. So another example could be str equals to, if I am correct with the cp, if I am correct with the spelling, s split, and now suppose I'm splitting it with using s. So you can see all the s have been removed and it has been separated accordingly. One more thing you might have observed is after between this s there is no character, so null character space has been occupied over here. This is what it does, and split actually divides the entire string into a list. Now list type of data we will be looking back again. If I show you the type of this after this has been split off, so it's actually a list kind of data type. You can also get the idea of that it's a list using by observing that the square bases that had been introduced at the beginning and the end of the string. Now we'll be looking that in the next video. Now one more thing I want to share is the find function. So we have talked about the split function, the list string slicing. Now next we talk about is the find function. So what this find will do is actually find a particular index of a particular character inside the string, and if none of them are present then it returns simply -1. So if I write GRENMONK, greenmonk. Now if I want to find inside name dot find, and then you specify the substring which you want to find. So if I have written monk, it's going to search for this, and you can see that it returns the 5th position. So it basically returns the starting index where the substring has occurred in the main string. Now suppose I have written something different like z. So z is not present inside the string. What does it return? -1. So it either returns the starting index of the where the substring matches, or it returns simply -1. This is all about the find function. Another thing which is common is replace. Suppose I have written this in delete. Now I want to change it to normal. So name dot replace, replace, and inside that I am specifying my previous character, that is 3 3, and I want to change it to E. Now you can see that green monk 3 has been changed to E. So that's all about the replace function, and now we will be looking at more details of the string function in the later on videos which will be coming up in the series. And when we get started with scripting I will be telling you more, but there are some more things which I want to add on in this string part. That is, you can also use the Suppose we have given a numeric value like 10 inside a variable n. Now its type is integer, right? So for some calculations, you need to store this data inside a string variable. Now, how can you do that? You can simply use the str method and wrap this variable inside this str method, and str of, why am I getting this error? Is this a Python? Sorry, it's my mistake. Actually, it's basically you store it in a string and you can change it to integer type. Like suppose I have 10 inside this and I can change this 10 from a string to, so now you can see that the type, its type will be changed. First it was a string type of data and now it has been changed into an integer type of data. So pardon me for a mistake. It's basically we can change from string type of data to an integer type of data. You'll be seeing this when we encode and decode the strings later on in the other upcoming videos. Now another thing which I want to add on is the various some other kinds of declaration of the string. Like we can use this triple quotes to use comment. This is called a block comment. And also, apart from this commenting, you can also use to store the strings inside. Like suppose I have a name and inside that I want to store, suppose, a list of 10 names. Sorry, why am I doing such much errors? Actually, I'm out of my mind, I guess. Suppose I write my team name, Green Monk, uh, Hacker U, Panther, the Flash, Manav. Now I close this inside quote. So now when I print this, you can see that I get the names. Sorry, I need to print this. This is a mistake that you are going to do probably. So you can see that this has been actually placed inside a block of the string. And why did I get this slash n and raw string over here printed? Because this raw string is actually being stored inside this object which is being referenced by the variable name. Now there are some other types of declaration, like in my name if I say John Doe, so if I print this name, simply is showing John Doe. But what if I want to give a print John on one line and Doe on the next line? We simply add a slash in and it prints. But here's a catch. If this string is going to be a raw string, which we can specify by specifying a R at the beginning of the string, then when we print off this name, it is going to treat this slash in as a drawstring and it's also going to display this on the screen. Okay, so now the string type of data, the raw string has been mentioned, also the unicodes. Okay, there's one more thing which you must know is name dot unicode. Probably, let me check. You can also use this help method. Okay, so Unicode, and inside this function I need to specify the base string. So Unicode, this comes quite handy because you can't remember each and everything. So you can see that this string has converted this data into a Unicode data which was stored inside the variable str, and likewise so on and on. Now there are going to be a few more data types like the list, the tuple, the set, and dictionary. Now list, these datas we are going to discuss in the next video, because I don't want to make the video quite long and just burden you all with a lot of information, because I have thrown a lot of information in this video. And if you are confused with this video, you can obviously let us know in the comment section, and I would urge you to view this over again and again to get a good idea about what we are doing in this video actually, and you should be good to go. So thanks guys, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you have any comments or suggestions which you want us for improving this video, you can obviously comment down in the comment section. And that's it. Thanks for watching.